Hi students, this week you will be working on Research Component 3, which will be your ethical considerations. So as you can see, the assignment expectations, this will be worth 50 points. I'm going to be looking to see your background information of the problem. This is something that you're continuing to work on and have already submitted this for the most part. You're just going to add to that same document that you've been working on. So a summarization of your research problem with your research design, and then background information where were articulated. And then you're going to use evidence to support your ethical considerations, right? So evidence for the congruency of the research problem are articulated. We want to make sure that we are covering the Belmont principles and, anything ethical that would be related to what you are doing in your particular research project. So not that we're doing the research project, but our mock research project, for better words for it. So make sure that you reviewed the information on ethics in the book, the articles that we've stated, and I think this is just going to be a pretty cut and dry week for you, right? You're going to look at your study and say, what kind of ethical considerations should I think of? If I were doing, or when I was doing my research on mindfulness and creativity and stress in nursing students, I had to think of ethical considerations of confidentiality, autonomy, making sure that the students had actual availability to connect with the counseling center because they were talking about components in the course that caused them stress, right? So thinking of the ethical considerations of what you are doing or would be doing if you were doing this research problem. So, your ethical concerns should be clearly stated. You should have detailed ethical considerations. And then, obviously you want to make sure that you have free from spelling or grammar errors, and appropriate references in APA format. If you've already submitted your APA format for your first few weeks, then I've already corrected them and explained them to you what might have been incorrect. So your APA should continue to get better. You're just adding the references list as you go to that references list. And then you also have, if you look below here, the grading rubric. So this is the same one we've been using for all the research components, which are, is your information clear? Did you address each component? And is it based on evidence? The evidence, again, should mostly be within 5 years. Some ethical evidence may be a little older. You might have like a landmark study or something like that. The Belmont principles, of course, are not within 5 years, but you're going to definitely incorporate that. Subject knowledge, do you understand what you're talking about in your terminology and your ethical considerations? Is your content, accurate, logical, etc.? Is it free from grammar or spelling errors? And then your APA formatting. So you've already seen this when I've been grading your prior components. So that is the rubric that we'll be looking at. And again, this should be pretty cut and dry. You're just basically, stating what the ethical considerations are as you think about conducting a research project on the design that you stated and the problem that you stated. So obviously, if you were just doing an observational study, you would still need to get permission from people, right? Informed consent. If you are doing interviews with people, you would still need to get informed consent, whether assigned or verbal, and you would want to reinforce that they would be able to withdraw from the study at any time, that there is confidentiality. So obviously when we do, for example, a qualitative interview study, we don't use the person's actual name. We give them a pseudonym. So just things like that to think about. So if you have any questions, reach out. But this should be a quick cut and dry, just a couple of paragraphs, and there is an example that you can look at as well.